I'm amazed I actually got that. I've got to cut that grass! Hey guys, welcome out to the range. I wanted to do a quick video to show you about something that, as an instructor, for those of you that are instructors, or even if you're just training on your own property behind barriers or vehicles or whatever, I wanted to show you something that you can invest in for yourself that it's going to make a big difference in your training. This is a horse stall mat. It's an anti-fatigue mat for horses, but just like the ones that we humans have around our sinks and whatnot, which are made of, like, you know, really bougie foam. This stuff is like borderline tire rubber. In fact, I think it actually might be tire rubber. It's very, very dense, very just really stiff. And why is it useful here around barriers? Well, I'll show you. When you're doing injured shooter training, let's say you're working the barrier and the instructor says your shooting hand is injured. For me, that's my left hand. So they place a racquetball. Yeah, this happens to you guys. So they place a racquetball in your hand and they say, your fingers do not leave that ball. Period. Your fingers don't leave that ball. I don't have to duct tape this. I have to just watch your hand and make sure that your hand never leaves this ball. So now I'm forced to run this gun right-handed or correct-handed, as the majority of you out here run your guns. So now I slightly get out of my sling, bring my gun up, now the gun is empty. At this point, I've got to eject the mag, and I've got to get another mag in. But if the instructor says, pull the gun out of the barrier, mostly because you're trying to stack the deck on you, this is where this mat comes in handy. Let's say that these pegs don't actually exist. These pegs are here for you to jam your gun into for reloads, but let's say that it isn't. I'm not one of those instructors who's trying to damage your gun, who's trying to damage you. This mat serves two purposes. First, it allows a student to jam the gun into the ground, and actually it would be this way. Jam the gun into the ground, get their next mag in the gun, get the gun back in battery with full control over the gun, and keep working with it. And the other thing is, it preserves your knees. I've done a fair amount of injured shooter training. What I can tell you is that in that training, I've gotten injured several times. And now I'm paying for it. At the age of 49, I've got damage that I absolutely know I got in training. And now I'm having to deal with it. So just today, I ran out and bought two of these, one for this barrier and one for the one down there. This is the 275-yard mark. That's the 200-yard mark. And I bought these because I'm running a class this coming Sunday. And I wanted to make sure that when we start getting into some of the injured shooter stuff, well, that's depending on how far we get into the curriculum, but when we get into the injured shooter stuff, that my students are not getting beat up around gravel, and also that they're not beating their guns up. Because guys, there is no greater frustration than coming to a class and finding that the instructor has you doing something that is going to damage your gun. Now look, there is aesthetic damage, appearance, and then there is mechanical damage. Aesthetic damage, you can usually kind of suck that up. It's what happens. I mean, if you guys were to get a good look at this gun, you would notice there's a fair amount of damage on this gun. But mechanical damage to that gun, that's not called for. You don't do that to a student who's paid to be there to train with you. Not to mention, here's the bigger picture. If you create a training experience that is either consciously or at an almost worse level, subconsciously negative, that student, unless they're just a sadist, may choose to not come back. So now you've lost a student. But here's what you don't understand, and this is, guys, this is sales 101. If you give a customer a positive experience, they might tell a couple of people. If you give a customer a negative experience, they will tell a bunch of people. It's just, guys, it's how it works. You're sitting around the table and the guy's like, yeah, man, let me tell you something. All right? There's that story. You want to give people the positive story, the positive experience, so that they leave here excited and thinking, I have got to come back and I have got to bring my friends with me. $35 mat. right? 35 bucks, 35 bucks. I have $70 in mats. Whoop-de-doo. What this ensures is that my students don't get beat to crap when they come out. They have a good time. Their equipment survives the training, and they come back and they enjoy themselves, because talking as a man who has damage from training, all because someone didn't spend money on some rubber mats and we were grinding around in gravel, it's uncalled for. So that's what I got for you guys today. I look forward to seeing you guys come out in training. This is a new area that you guys haven't seen, or at least you haven't seen in quite a while. I started using this area up here because I realized I've got one heck of a hill in that direction. And this camera may be picking them up, but in this whole area has about 8 targets hidden in it right now. And they're very low to the ground, because unlike in Hollywood, where everyone stands and has gunfights from a standing position, in the real world, people seldom stand during a gunfight. They're usually taking a very low knee, or they're crouching low, or they're kind of jinking around a corner. So that's what I've got going on out here. There are targets hidden all over the place. They're all reactive steel, and they're all rifle rated. As always, I thank you guys for watching. God bless you all. Get those guns out in practice. Have a good one.